What's up, y'all? Sparta here, and I want to do a top 10 things about the LG G4. Now, these are top 5 likes and top 5 dislikes. I'm doing my top 5 dislikes first. And sorry for the lack of content. As I've said, I want to have my videos marinate in the channel without putting a billion up at a time. Plus, I've been playing a lot of Dark Souls 3, just taking a break from YouTube for a bit, just relaxing. Despite the fact that Dark Souls 3 is not really a game you should relax with. But as far as that goes, top 10 things about the LG G4. All right, my dislikes. Overall, the overall build quality is something I don't necessarily... I'm impartial with it, but I guess I'll call it a dislike. Now, when I first got this phone, it felt great. It felt like a beautiful, phone. Now, clearly what you guys see. Even then, it doesn't feel like an ugly phone. But I guess I'm just going off of how the G6 looks now. But number 5 for me is essentially the overall look and design of the phone. Now, this is the last G series phone to have the back button array on the button array on the back. And I do miss that a lot. I really did enjoy that, just having them all right here. It did feel real comfortable to do that. And LG did do a great thing with doing that. But as far as it just feels very cheap now, And it is cheap now. It's like $200 now. But as far as that goes, yeah, it's pretty much as far as that. Number 4, I guess, would be, screen real estate. I don't like this big LG logo at the bottom. And it isn't just LG that's, guilty for this. HTC used to do the same thing. Samsung still does it until the S8 comes out anyway. Apple doesn't do it, but they put big ass bezels on the top and bottom. That's pretty much useless. I think Moto does it as well. I think Moto actually does have a tramp stamp at the bottom for their I don't remember how other manufacturers' phones look, because I haven't had any Moto phones really. I haven't had those since the track phones. But yeah, number 4 is just screen real estate, I guess. Number 3. What would be number 3? Oh yeah, this can go into build quality as well, but I'm gonna count this as its own different thing. The quality of the lens on here. The quality on the lens it's kind of poor. On the camera, it gets scratched easily. You guys probably won't be able to see it, but yeah, you guys won't be able to see it, but there's scratches on my lens, and it sucks, but it still takes quality video and quality pictures. Nothing has really kept it from doing that. But as far as that goes, it's just that. Number 2, after almost 2 years, the software has gotten a bit sluggish, but that's mainly due to the fact that it has a Snapdragon 808 in it. So I guess I'll just say the processor is a bit long in the tooth now. It still operates very well. I'll give it that. But the processor is getting a bit long in the tooth. Number 2, that is number... Is that number 2? What did I do? Build quality, screen real estate, lens, software. No processor. And 1, I guess, is just... would just be the fingerprint scanner, the speaker on the back. Now, don't get me wrong. It is loud. It is very loud. and very clear to use. I will give a sample here.
What's up, y'all? Sparty here, and I want to do a quick video on what everything the LG G6 has to offer. Now, this goes by what.
Now, as you guys can hear, it is very loud, but you can muffle it very easily.
That I've watched on the G6 today, which it just has been revealed today. So there has been a lot of videos on it, but not everybody is talking about everything that the phone.
As you guys can see, it does get muffled very easily, but it is still very loud. It's not terrible. And that's pretty much my dislikes on the G4. Now my likes, the camera array in general, both the back and the front, are amazing. They're very great. You know, if you need a camera, whether it be for selfies or otherwise, this is a great phone to use. Because there's an 8 megapixel front facing camera. And I don't know why. Putting it closer to the light makes it worse. Oh shit, no, it's actually doing better. The only real problem is that, as you guys can see recording it, it gets a little bit weird, but you can just switch back and forth like that, no problem, on any side, and it'll just do it. So yeah, camera is great still compares well to flagships of, I guess you could just say last year now. So yeah, cameras are still great. What people barely talk about now is call quality. Call quality is still really good on this phone. It still feels very good and very natural to put a curved phone next to your ear. Now, there's going to be kind of a weird angle to do it, but give me a second. Now, as you guys can see, my tripod's a bit crooked, but as you guys can see, there's a curve to the phone, and you put it next to your ear like this, and your ear naturally sits right there on the earpiece, and your voice is more directed towards the mic than it is away from the mic. Now, sorry about this. I can't tell where my face is, so I'll just have to review this when I get done. But yeah, as you guys can see, it's still fairly, competent when it comes to stuff like that. Yeah, so as I just said, camera, call quality is still great. Screen is still very bright, and it still is very responsive, despite the fact that, that's going on, but still very responsive. It still feels good to slide across. And the software is still very snappy too. LG has done really good with that. They keep their software snappy, even though there have been times where, I shouldn't have opened that. Because that by nature runs a bit slow. Sorry, I'm using taskbar. It changes the color based on it changes the color of the nav bar based on what app you open. So it does that. But yeah, as I said, the software is still pretty snappy. And I also have apps pinned so that they're not closed, and it's still running very well. Even with 3 gigs of RAM, it's still running very well. Dual window works well. It doesn't work as well as it does on Nougat. Excuse me, but it still works fairly well. Sorry, I have to recap a lot. So camera, phone quality, software, and the overall screen being big while still being in a small body. LG has pioneered this for a while, actually. This phone is a phablet despite feeling just like a regular phone. It still feels good to hold in the hand. It still feels like you can use it. It feels like I can still go up to, Photoshop Express, go up to, my bank app, and it'll still, react, and it'll still be good. So screen reachability and overall it being compact is something I like really. I really like a lot about this phone. Now another thing, and I wanted to mention this in my V21, but I just wanted to save it for this one, and it's just overall LG being the fastest manufacturer to put out updates as far as other than Google, obviously, but the Android OEM to put out updates the fastest now. And they're always consistent. The G2 got Marshmallow. And who was really asking the G2 to get Marshmallow? Who knows? It'll probably still get Nougat. It still is their best-selling phone, so I guess it makes sense. Whereas Samsung, I know I said Samsung dropped the S3 a while ago, and that's their best-selling phone. But, LG's been very good with updates. They've always have been. Like, even when there was stuff like I had issues with my G2 where knock-on wouldn't work, they pushed out an update like a week later that it just stopped whatever was creating that bug. LG does a lot to make sure, despite the fact of what a lot of people say about boot looping and stuff, which I know happens and I know it's an issue. I faced it once with the G5. And as I said a lot of times, I just got a new one. But as far as, as far as the G4 goes, I have a soft spot in my heart for this phone, Whereas the G3 was kind of a disappointment for me. Like it was a bit on the slow side. It felt a little bit like undercooked and stuff like that. The G4 felt like a more fleshed out G3. And that's not just saying, oh, it's just what the G3 should have been. No. I hate it when people say that because then that just discredits what this phone has to offer. This isn't what the G3 should have been. The G3 should have been what the G3 was, so that LG came back with this and just made an overall better phone. Now, is that saying that I hate the G3? No. It's just probably the most disappointing of the LG series that I've used. Now, you can say the G5, but I wasn't really disappointed in the G5 performance-wise. I was just disappointing on the modularity side, because no mods came out. I was thinking about a whole bunch of different mods I wanted with the G5. And lo and behold, Moto came out with one mod that I've wanted with the G5, and that's a gamepad mod. And that might actually make me get a Motorola phone so I can get that mod. And that's pretty much the only mod I really want. But yeah, as far as that goes, it's pretty much as far as my top 10 about the G4. As I said, I like this phone a lot. I really didn't want to give this phone to my dad when I got my S7. I kind of felt sad when I did, but I'm glad that I have it back. Because, it's not my favorite of the G series. I'm not going to say that. I think the G5 kind of holds that crown in some ways. As a matter of fact, this might actually be my favorite, because the G2, while being a great phone, isn't the best that LG has ever made. I hate it when people say that, because the V10 is superior in every way to the G2. The V20 is superior in any way to the G2. Like, every phone that LG has come out with, maybe the G3, I guess you could argue, is probably the only phone that I would say didn't really match up to the G2. But everything else, it feels good. I like the fact that they came out with leather backs for this phone. You could get that for the V10 as well. And the V10 is just a beefed up G4. That's all I've ever seen it as. And that's not discounting what the V10 is. As I said, never discount what a phone is. It's just what it is to me. I see the same with the V20. The V20 is just a more streamlined, better G5 in a lot of ways. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but I'm glad LG decided to do something like that. And as much as I hate to have like the power user features go away, you know, the removable battery, they're still keeping micro SD. Like, I don't necessarily care for water resistance, but I'll take it. I'll take it. If I can get it, I'll take it. Like, you know, I wasn't bummed out to hear that the V20 didn't have water resistance, because I was like, I drop my phone more on floors than I do in water or splash water on it. And the water that does get on it is from rain or snow, so it's not going to fuck my phone up. But yeah. That's pretty much it. I'm fucking losing my voice talking like this. I need some water. But yeah, this has been Sparta. Thank you guys for watching. Thanks for supporting my channel again. I can't thank you guys enough for this. And have a good one. Have a good rest of you guys' day.